Hi everyone, sorry to be a few minutes late. I was having Facebook issues, but I think we're in business now. So let's get going here. This is the card so many of you asked me to make, and so I'm popping on board today to show it to you. It is using the Poinsettia Petals Bundle. So the Poinsettia Petals Bundle is part of a suite found on pages 14 and 15 and 16 of the catalog. So here's the actual size of the stamps. Here are the dies. Here are some samples. You will see more samples at the end of the book as well, where they show the bundles. And samples here, the colors that go with the paper that comes with the suite. And this gorgeous ribbon is really great too. So let me just show you a few things about this designer paper. This designer paper is one of the papers that's on sale this month for 15% off. So if you are interested in that, there are 15 different designer papers on sale. So it's a really good deal. Let me just show you a bit about that paper. All right, so I'll back up a little bit more. Here is the bundle. So there's the stamp set, and then there are the dies, and I'm going to show you more about the dies in a little bit. And I'm just trying to find out where I am on the computer here. For some reason it is not working, but we'll just carry on. As I said, I was having some issues. So this is the bundle, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Put that to the side. I want to bring in the papers that are part of the suite. So this is one of the papers, and I want you to look at this because this is what is so neat. One of the dies actually cuts out that flower right there. So can you imagine how easy that would be, just to cut out a few of those flowers and put them on a card? That would work great. And I just love how Stampin' Up! Does their coordination. They also have this plush vellum. So it's vellum that has the velvet design on it. And I actually have, of the leaf design and the poinsettia design, this is all I have left, and I'm even getting low on this design, but I just wanted to show you, you're going to have to use your imaginations a little bit, but the leaf dies will cut out the leaves on this vellum, and this die here that I was showing you, I'll be showing you other dies later. It cuts out once you wiggle it around to the right spot. And you're going to have to trust me, I suspect. Oh, there we go. It would cut out the poinsettias if you had the whole big sheet, 12 by 12 sheet. So I love that kind of coordination. There's tons and tons of neat coordination in this suite, and I'm going to be showing a little bit more of it to you as we go along. I will show you the poinsettias in a minute because they're right on my die cutting machine, but I want to show you the leaves. So you can cut out the leaves, just the outline. You could just emboss. So this piece here is just going to emboss. So you could create a whole embossed design on the back of your, or on your cardstock if you wanted, or you could put them together on the die cutting machine and it would cut it out and emboss at the same time. Isn't that neat? I just love it. So there's two sizes of the leaves. There are this little center here. Let me just bring in one card. So I used that, and you made it for the center of this. You could actually layer them up. So this would be, you could put underneath, and then this was always a mystery to me, but that is to cut out this great little fir tree branch. And so there are all kinds here. Now you're saying you're missing some. Yes, I'm going to show you the others in a minute here. So let's take a look at this card and see what we can come up with. I'm just still being bugged that I can't see your comments. So So let's see. No, it's not going to come up. Okay, I will just trust that you're there and watching, and I'll read them later. As you know, I never read them very much anyway because I get distracted. So for this card here, we're starting with a piece of purple posy, 8.5 by 7, scored at 3.5. So let me just show you that. So when I score it, it's the 7-inch side. The 7-inch side is at the top, and I'm putting it at 3.5, which will be half of 7, right? So I'm going to score there, and then I will fold it. So my finished card base is going to be 3.5. I should have pressed a little harder on my scoring there. Well, let's just do that one more time. I like it to fold nicely. So back in at 3.5, and I'm going to actually use my bone folder and press really hard. Some of our papers seem to be a smidge thicker than the others, and I likely also cut it so that I was scoring cross grain with it, which doesn't help. There, that's going much more smoothly. So now I'm just going to use my bone folder. So now I've got a card that is 3.5 inches this way and 8.5 inches this way. That way, if I didn't want to make an envelope, it would fit in a legal size envelope, no problem. As I've often shared with you, a lesson I learned early on in card making is make the cards fit the envelope, if that's what you want to do. So, unless you're making your own. So then we're going to bring in 2 pieces of Whisper White that are 8 by 3. One of these pieces is for the front of the card. One is going to be for the inside of the card. So that is why I have 2, and I cut them the same size so I wouldn't get mixed up. So we've got those. Then we have some of this beautiful Feels Like Frost designer paper. Now this paper comes 6 by 6. So there's no way it's going to be 8 inches wide, but I'm going to show you how you can still use it. It's 6 inches by 2 3/4. So here it is. So here's the front and back. This is the gorgeous paper that is all silver and white on the other side. And then the colored side is actual photographs, and so it brings in these colors here. Now, just for future reference, in case you hadn't realized, you can take the other side and sponge on color and make it whatever color you want as well. But today we're going to use the side that's the photograph side. So we've got that. And then I had some scraps, so I'm bringing in a piece that's 1/4 inch by 3 inches, and that is going to be for the inside of the card, like I used here. So those are the papers that I'm using, and I think we might as well get started. So let's do our basic, let's take care of the underneath part here first. I stamped right on top of the designer paper. Sometimes we forget that we can do that, but it always is a neat effect. So I know that the stamps are photopolymer, so I'm going to put a little bit of padding underneath. Use my Stampin' Pierce mat. And although the Stampin' Pierce mat isn't shown in the catalog, it is still available. It wasn't put in the catalog, and there was such a hue and cry that they brought it back. So there, so I'm going to do that. I like to, for myself, line up the stamp on lines because I like to get it straight. Some people like to purposely do it sideways. For me, I have to have everything going as straight as possible. Now let me see, I have no idea if there's an up or a down, but I'm going to use it that way. And ink up my stamp. I'm going to use black because I think it will stand out the best. So this is the Tuxedo Black, and I'm making sure to get it good and inky. I'm actually going to move this, and so I can put, I'm even putting my finger here and getting some good pressure right where the images are. So then we'll move that out of the way, bring this back in, and I know that I want it up in this corner. So There we go. I'm going to press down and give it a moment for the ink to transfer. And, ooh, lovely. Turned out beautifully. So now my next step is to glue this. That's all the stamping we're doing on the front. We'll do the inside. I'm going to glue this down to the Whisper White strip, and I'm going to just leave an equal border over here, and I still will have this big white area here. I'm not worried about that. I'm taking care of that in a few minutes. So let's just stick that down like that. Bring the white in. And I love my silicone mat. As you know, I use it all the time for all kinds of things, not just for gluing. There, got it like that. Now I've brought in some of the purple posy linen ribbon. I could go like that. There's two sides to this ribbon, or I can go like that. I think I'm going to go that way, and I'm just going to put some Seal Plus on the back here, and then stick the ribbon right into it. So that way, and there, and wrap the ribbon around. So I'll stick it. See, I'm just sticking it to the back, and hopefully get it fairly straight. If I don't, I can always just peel it off. And I would, it's a bit high there and a bit low there. There, we'll even it out. I think that looks okay. So now I am going to put Seal Plus on the rest of this, and I'm even going to put some over top of that ribbon. Actually, I'm going to use my liquid glue there. There we go. It's sometimes ribbon doesn't take the this very readily. It's easier to put it on the paper itself. Now I'm going to bring this in. Do you see how quickly this is coming together? I know I'm missing an important part of it, but it will come. Okay, there we go. Again, working with my head slightly off. Don't want to get it in the camera. Sometimes it's a bit of a challenge. There we go. So we've got that part of the card done. So I'm going to slide that aside and put that over there. We'll work on the inside in a few minutes, but we want to make this gorgeous, gorgeous poinsettia. Now, do you remember how I showed you the leaves did embossing and cutting? Well, so do the poinsettias, and they come in 3 sizes. So I left my sandwich all together. This was my instruction sheet. I now have the new magnetic plate, and so it comes with this instruction sheet, and it shows you how to build the sandwich. So number 1 is your platform. So that's this part. It comes with your stamp and cut and emboss machine. And then you're going to do a number 2, which is this plate here. It's got a 2 on it. And then you're going to do your magnetic plate, and it's a self-healing mat here. This has got a number 5 on it. So it's a self-healing mat. You're going to cut on that and then put a number 3 on top. So let's remove this out of the way. And I just wanted to show you something. Sometimes when you're trying to match these up, for example, if I had that down and I was trying, sometimes it's hard to find the right spot. Once you do, if you're good at puzzles, you won't have any trouble. And I actually don't find it's too hard. But to make life a little bit easier, I've made a Sharpie mark. This one's wearing off a little bit already on them, so I would know how to line them up. So now you've got the poinsettia shape, which I've used on its own a lot, and we've got the 3 sizes. I'm going to lift these off. You see how that's got just like the leaf, and then it fits inside. So I'm going to, oh, that all came right away. Look, isn't that gorgeous? It cuts beautifully and it embosses. I just love it. All right, we'll take this one out because we want all 3 sizes. Like that. Here we are. So I'm just going to show you the magnetic plate or mat, whatever you want to call it. When you cut on it, you want to rotate things around. Never on any of your plates, cut always in the same spot. You want to move things around, shift them around a little bit. And if this starts to kind of warp or bend a little bit, just bend it back, because that's how thin it is right there. And it's a solid magnet, so your little pieces don't jump around. Remember how on the magnetic platform on the Big Shot, because it was 40 different magnets in here, the little pieces would jump. Well, these now hold their own. So now we have these here. What I like to do before building them is I like to curve them a little bit. Well, I wanted to show you something. What you could do is you could bring in some ink and your sponge dauber, and I'm just going to show it on this one, and you can actually just sponge a little bit here and add, and I'll show you a card with that done later on. But it looks really pretty when it's all done. But right now we're not going to do that. We are just going to use the bone folder, put it between your thumb, and I'm hanging on to the petal. I don't want to pull it off. So I am actually being a little bit gentle and going a few more extra times so that I don't pull that petal off. So now it's looking like this. Not to worry, we've got another step in place. I'm going to do that to the 3 petals. And this is the baby one. Then I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. I had to see where I put it. And this is the side I stamp on. So I try not to do anything but stamping on this side. I even write a message there. On the other side, I can do piercing. I can do all kinds of things. So I am going to bring these in here, and I'm going to bring in a pen that has a rounded end. If you have the old pokey tool that has the rounded end, it works. A small crochet hook works if it's rounded. You just want something that's rounded, and I'm going to press down and just kind of rub like that. You can even use your baby finger to do it. But do you see what's happening? Now the center of the flowers are going down, and yet my petals still have that nice arch to them. So you just needed something soft to do that on. Now to build the poinsettia. Now I am going to actually glue those 2 together and then put a mini dimensional on the top one. So I'm going to bring in a mini dimensional right here. Woo! All my little pieces of paper and notes. Here's my mini dimensional, and for here I'm actually going to use a glue dot because there's a bit of pressure. I could use the liquid glue, but I would have to hold it for a minute, and because I'm on video, I would rather just have it stick right away. So I'm offsetting it. Hold that down like that. Now I'll take the backing off of here and offset it again. Isn't that neat? I just love it. Okay, so now we're ready to build our card. So we've got these are part of the dies. So I'm going to bring in, I cut them ahead of time. So we've got 3 of those, and we've got our card. So let's fasten these guys down first. And I am going to use glue dots for them just for ease. The glue dots are overkill, but it doesn't matter. I'm just putting it on the stem, and I'm going to follow what I did here. So this kind of went shooting out here, and I had another one that went, and I know the glue dots are going to be covered, so I'm not worried. If I can get them off my finger. This one's going up into this corner here. And then we will put this one. It's not showing very much, but it just adds a little bit. Now let's just hold this on top. Yeah, it's going to cover all the ends. So to fasten this on, I like to use a regular dimensional. That helps me keep this shape. So I'm putting a regular dimensional there, and then just deciding where I want to put it. I think that's as good a place as any. So there we go like that. And now the only thing missing are these gorgeous, gorgeous beads. These are called beaded pearls, and they come like this, and all you have to do is add a glue dot, once I find my glue dots, and put them in the middle. And I didn't pick up a glue dot. There we go. Let's try that again. There we go. Now it's sticky. Just going to stick it down like that. Now, isn't that an elegant card? That, to me, doesn't have to be Christmas. It could be, I could switch the words out and make it birthday or whatever. But I am making it Christmas because I just wanted to use the stamps that are in the set so that you had a feel for it. Because I am featuring this suite all weekend, or all week, pardon me, not weekend. So now let's do the inside. So for the inside, we're going to bring our Stampin' Pierce mat back in, and this, and I'm going to do my stamping first because, as you know, if I make a mistake, I can always flip it over, right? I'm bringing in Highland Heather. We don't have Purple Posy ink. Highland Heather is just a tone darker, so it works really well with it. And this stamp set has the most wonderful script for Merry Christmas. I've used this on so many cards. So there, gorgeous. All right, and now I am going to bring in one of the Poinsettia stamps and ink that up, but I'm going to stamp it off once. I want it to be a little bit lighter, and I'm just going to have it coming here like that. So now I've got a lighter shade that's pretty much dead on for Purple Posy actually. And now I want to add, where's this? I have this scrap of paper here, so I just want to add that there. It just, to me, just finishes it off. It just happens because I have scraps, and you know, it's always fun to use it. So we're going like that. Living Dangerously, doing this on top of my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I'm just going to let it have a little bit of a border. Can't remember if that's what I did before or not. Now this card, like so many cards, was not original with me. It was another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator shared it. I loved it. When I shared it with you, you loved it. And so I borrowed it. Her name was, let me see, Lisa Freeman. And demonstrators have a website where we share cards with each other and projects in 3D and scrapbook pages and all that fun stuff. So there we go. There is our card. Now, last week I shared with you about how to make envelopes for these kinds of cards, or how to put designer paper on the flap. But this is 6x6 designer paper. There's no way we can use the exact paper, but we can use stamps, right? So let's, I'm going to stamp that off again, and I want it to be, where's my Stampin' Pierce mat? Here it is. This is fairly flimsy paper, but it will still just add a little bit of something special when somebody gets it in the mail. So that's it on the back. You can even add a little bit here if you'd like. So I'm going to stamp it off again and maybe do a bit like that. And you've got an envelope that matches your card and you're set to go. So did you like that? I can see some of you already pulling out your supplies and making this. And by the way, I love it when you share what you make. Now, don't run away. I want to show you some other cards made with this suite. I've shown you some pictures. Some of these I may have shown before. Some of these I've received in swaps, or some of them I've made, and some of them I've copied. There's a saying in the Stampin' Up! World of casing, copy and share everything. And that's sort of what we do. So here's one right here. This is one I shared a picture of. This time I cut the poinsettia layers out of vellum, and then I sponged the back of the vellum so that it's soft on the front. This is Pool Party, and I did vellum leaves here and the sprigs, and then the tiny little vellum poinsettia. We have our dies there as for that size too, and use that for the center rather than the pearls. And I really like how that turned out, and did a little embossing on this layer here. So then I received this card in the mail. Don't you just love getting cards in the mail? And look at, it's almost the same layout. The poinsettia in this corner, the words down here, the layers. This is from Karen Y. I always love getting her cards. Now this is the card I wanted to show you. See, she sponged right in here. She curled her layers going this way, and then she added some Wink of Stella. I hope you can see that. Absolutely gorgeous. And you can see the embossing on the silver leaves. The two of us even used the same embossing folder on the back on this layer. So I love that we think a bit alike sometimes. So that's that one. Here is one using that some other stuff from the suite. This is the plush vellum and the Merry Christmas embossed in gold. And here I just used a couple of the sprigs. This I cased from Karina Chin and Donna Wozniak, I believe her name is. And I love the simplicity. Those of you who know me know I love white and white in color. I like open spaces on my cards. I like all cards, but I do like this kind of card. Then this one here uses the same designer paper that I was showing you earlier. So this designer paper here, but it uses the front and then the back of the same sheet. So here's the front and the back, like that. And then the little sprig here and some technique here. So just a fun way of showing another aspect of that suite. It's not all about the poinsettias. These two, no poinsettias in sight. And this one I saw yesterday, let me see who, Lynn Colcan, I think. This is in Sahara Sand and White, and I love a good monochromatic card, and this one just caught my eye. This layer is on dimensionals. I chose to do that. The poinsettia is done on vellum and a white heat embossed. So that's that. So the other thing I just remembered as I was sitting here, and I forgot to print it out, but I have a Christmas card buffet being offered. It's a class, and one of the cards is this one. Whoops, I wanted to show you one more too. Is this one right here, and the reason I thought of it is because it also involves the vellum here. But if you sign up for the class and you're going to make it at home, you can put whatever words you want here. If you don't have the poinsettia stamps and dies, what I will do is I will cut the dies, the vellum out for you, and then you can sponge your vellum and build it that way, just like on the pool party one. So that whatever cards you sign up for, I'm going to show you how you can adapt it to what using your supplies. If you don't have much in the way of stamps and you want to come and use mine, I have my basement set up so that you can book a time, come in, sanitize at the door, wash your hands, there's social distancing, and there are only 1 or 2 people allowed at the time, and then everything is sanitized afterwards. So that is another option as well. Most people find they have enough things at home that they can make it work, but if not, that's always an option. And then I had to show you this one. This is a card I received in a swap, and it's using the velvet, red velvet and the green velvet paper, as well as the velvet plush here. So there's just a little bit of fun for you. I hope you are inspired to go make some cards. And I also hope that you're getting my newsletter, because each week, and this morning was week 2, I send out 1 week from Christmas. So for Christmas, so I have 12 weeks of Christmas going on. Week 2 was sent out this morning. So I hope you received that. And again, I thank you for everyone who is sharing what they're making with my 12 weeks of Christmas. Love that. Well, I think I've talked enough. So I am finishing up here, and I thank you. Bye-bye.